So again, it discussed active listening, being present, in the moment, contingent communication, coherence, the connection between self and others, connecting with children first when just coming home, co-construction of self with parents, interpersonal contingency, which creates coherence, respecting child's experiences, incoherence, and mismatch between verbal and nonverbal communication is hard for children. Acknowledging your child's wants, and we're going to get into that in a moment when we discuss the toy example. Um, like I said, receiving, processing and responding to information, showing that you received the signal and processed it from another person, and being aware of the process and the content of the connection. So, um, this reading meant a lot to me. I'm a mother. I have a 2-year-old, and sometimes struggle with communicating with them. I feel like it can be hard to sometimes communicate with small children and toddlers because they're not verbal most of the time, and when they do become verbal, what they're discussing is not as clear as you would like it to be. So you do a lot of guessing and as you're trying to figure things out. And I can relate to the experience from the text. Like, after a long day at work, you have your own agenda. You want to go home, you want to change your clothes, shower, cook dinner, but your child is trying to recover from the separation that you two experienced all day. And it could be overwhelming. And you're like brushing your child off. And I've seen it within my own home with my own son, and he'll escalate, and I'm like, just explain to him like, I'm just so tired, just give me a moment. So that's reading this, I feel like moving forward is going to help me to acknowledge my son and his experience and what actually is going on in the bigger picture, and addressing his feelings towards our separation. Another example was the toy from the text. And what I can say about the toy is my son, he's 2. Again, he's one of those kids that goes into the store. He wants to buy something out of every single store we go to. Just imagine going to the mall and having to buy 5 toys because you went in 5 stores. That's my son. So most of the time I buy it. And then sometimes I say no. And that's just it. Or I say, no, I just bought you 4 toys from 4 other stores, or you already have that at home, or you're, so I feel like that was another thing. I learned something else there because it's like acknowledging my child's experience. Like, hey, you see a toy that you like. What do you like about it? Can you write it down? Or, well, he can't really write it down, but that's where I become creative on my end to see how I can just acknowledge his experience without necessarily giving in, because sometimes continuously giving in makes it worse for me, because now he has an expectation of me. When we go out and we go into the store, that means toy or something of the likes, or candy. So I really learned something from that example as well. And just overall, it's something to note that you should be present in conversation and listening and understanding where a person come from, instead of just listening to just respond with swiftness, or an emotion like yelling no or don't do that and things like that. So how can I apply this to social work practice? Active listening is um very, very important in the social work field. I feel like you have to listen to understand your client. If you're not understanding your client, there's already an immediate disconnect. If you don't hear what they're saying, um how can you prompt yourself for future conversation or future sessions? if you're not actively listening to understand their wants, their needs, their experiences, their traumas, and things like that. And another key thing is, one second, where it said, oh, the mixed match of verbal communication and nonverbal communication. I feel like that's very important, because if you're sitting with a client and you're not judging them, so you say, but they say something and you're like, or you like, that looks like judging to me. I would feel like someone is judging me. So I feel like it's very important to understand that these two things have a crucial role and they go hand in hand. That's all. Thank you for watching.